Hello and a very warm welcome to Rajya Sabha Television. You're watching Verdict 2016 with me, Frank Pereira. Here are today's Verdict headlines. Voting underway for 62 seats in Phase 3 of elections in West Bengal. Fate of 418 candidates to be sealed. Violence in Murshidabad district during voting. CPIM alleges bombs hurled at polling booth leading to death of supporter. Police says death unrelated to polls. Mamata Banerjee replies to Election Commission's show cause notice over alleged poll code violation. EC had rejected Chief Secretary's reply to the notice. UDF promises new measures to make liquor policy foolproof. In its election manifesto for Kerala, promises bicycles and laptops at concessional rates. Well, let's begin with news from West Bengal. Well, polling for the crucial third phase of West Bengal Assembly elections for 62 seats is taking place even as we speak right now. The seats include 7 constituencies in North Kolkata. An electorate of over 1.37 crore will seal the fate of 418 candidates, including 34 female candidates, at the end of voting today. The constituencies are spread over Murshidabad, Nadia, Burdwan districts and North Kolkata. Key candidates in this phase include Trinamool Minister Shashi Panja and Sadan Pandey, BJP National Secretary Rahul Sinha, 5-time Congress MLA Mohammad Shorab, CPIM MLA Anisur Rahman and retired IPS officer Nazrul Islam. The Election Commission has identified 3,401 hamlets in the phase as vulnerable. Security forces have been strengthened with around 1 lakh security personnel, including 75,000 central forces spread all over the state. Trinamool Congress, Left Congress Alliance and the BJP have put up a fight in all the seats. Former Minister Humayun Kabir, who was expelled from the Trinamool Congress for 6 years for making anti-party statements, is in the fray from Rajinagar seat as an independent. Meanwhile, one person was killed in Murshidabad district where polling is underway for the third phase. CPIM candidate and former Minister Anisur Rahman said that the 35-year-old CPIM man was killed and his body was found lying outside a polling booth. He claimed that bombs were hurled outside the polling booth. Murshidabad Superintendent of Police, however, said that the murder was not related to polls. Police say the victim was stabbed somewhere else and his body was dumped near the booth. The CPIM is also alleging a jamming of booths by Trinamool Congress supporters. Congress candidate in Hariharpara alleged that 2 party supporters were beaten up allegedly by Trinamool Congress workers, and Trinamool Congress, however, denied the charges. Well, joining me for a chat this afternoon to talk about what's happening in West Bengal is KV Prasad, Associate Editor of the Tribune. Welcome and thank you for joining me on the program. You know, as far as the third phase of polling is concerned, 62 seats are polling even as we speak right now. Who really stands to gain and who stands to lose in this phase?
Well, I think, Frank, I'd really leave it right now at this point of time because the kind of campaigning that has been going on kind of indicated that Trinamool Congress would do its best to try and retain power, even though the Congress and the left who have kind of joined hands in their own manner to try and wrest some portions of seats, if not they may be talking of wresting power, but that seems to be a little difficult as all reports indicate so far. But surely it's a very keenly contested election, and of course what is saddening is the level of violence that has been talked about. If you remember, the very fact the Election Commission has had such a prolonged phase of election, 6 phases actually.
Technically 7 phases because the first phase was
A and 1B. Was to try and stagger the security forces around vulnerable areas and try and ensure there's a free and fair polling. In fact, I remember 2 elections back when I did tour, including some of the Maoist areas, there was very, very strong security presence, and the people were kept at, only the genuine voters were allowed inside the booth, and there were very strict Election Commission observations of the whole poll procedure. And that's very important considering the fact that over the years, in the last 20 years, we really have done wonders in terms of the election management.
Yes.
So one must give credit to the Election Commission and its dedicated team of officials along with security forces.
Now,
to
even
kind
this
of
time
ensure-
around, the Election Commission has done a stellar job in trying to ensure that the voter turnout being high and also ensuring that violence is
That has
kept
been an
at...
ongoing program, by the way.
Yes, yes. You know, but what is it about West Bengal politics and violence when it comes to polls? You know, it's not something that's happening only this time around. I mean, it's something that's happened over the years.
Yes, it has been. It has been for the last 30, 40 years. In fact, this has been an issue with political parties. And I think largely the political parties would themselves have to address this issue as to, there could be an elimination by, this is a physical elimination is what is most disturbing in a democratic process. You can disagree. You can agree to disagree. But
Yes.
here, disagreements leads to violent elimination of a rival or a political ideology is really very disturbing in terms of its larger implication. But that has been the case, though maybe the numbers have come down vis-a-vis when the actual polling takes place because of very strong presence of security forces and largely central military, paramilitary forces who are no longer entrusted with the state police, who are given the outside the periphery job to kind of maintain law and order. That's the most saddening part, and we hope as things go and as our democracy continues to mature, this issue of tackling physically violent, adopting violent methods are not resorted to.
Something that's unique to West Bengal. We hope that it goes away and it doesn't happen in the future. But do stay with us, KV Prasad. I'm going to take your reaction on the next story that we're tracking as well. West Bengal Chief Minister and Trinamool Congress Supremo Mamata Banerjee has replied to the show cause notice issued to her for violating the Model Code of Conduct by the Election Commission. The contents of the reply are not known. Mamata Banerjee was issued a show cause notice for prima facie violating the Model Code by announcing carving out a new Asansol district during an election rally. The West Bengal Chief Secretary had first responded to the show cause notice, which the EC rejected and asked Mamata to reply in person. The TMC maintains that the decision on Asansol was taken during a cabinet meet in December 2015 and hence there is nothing new in the announcement. Well, under attack over the Narda sting operation, West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has questioned the source of funding of opposition BJP, Congress and CPIM. Speaking at an election rally in Damdam, Mamata claimed that her leaders don't need to take money from others. She also claimed that the TMC is the most transparent and honest party of India. She also said that she will raise the question of funding of the mainstream parties in the Lok Sabha. Mamata also launched a scathing attack on former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, accusing him of not keeping his promise of waiving the huge debt that TMC government had inherited from the left dispensation. She claimed that Singh had promised the waiver during an election rally in 2011. Meanwhile, the Election Commission has show-caused Trinamool Congress candidate Abdur Razak Mullah for allegedly using derogatory language against actress-turned-BJP leader Rupa Ganguly. Mullah, a former CPIM leader, has been fielded by TMC from Bhangar Assembly constituency in South 24 Parganas. He had been show-caused earlier too and even issued a censure by the poll panel for violating the Model Code of Conduct. Earlier during the day, a BJP delegation had lodged a complaint with the Chief Electoral Officer against Mullah for his alleged derogatory remarks against Ganguly. Rupa Ganguly is the BJP's candidate from Howrah North constituency. Meanwhile, the BJP and also the CPIM questioned the silence of West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee over the allegedly derogatory remarks against Rupa Ganguly. Well, still with me is KV Prasad, Associate Editor of the Tribune. You know, we've seen a lot of this time around, you know, show cause notices being issued by the Election Commission, the BJP running to the Election Commission time and again to complain about what the TMC has been doing. I mean, what's all this about? Is it really required? Is it necessary?
Well, of course, election time does have such a kind of responses, and it's not unique. This has been happening in the past. It continues to happen because Election Commission is an independent body and a body which is like a neutral umpire trying to enforce the rule of the game, and including the Model Code of Conduct, which all parties have willingly subjected themselves to. Because Election Commission, as I said in the past, in last 20-25 years, has really evolved as a very effective watchdog body. And when people come to the EC, they expect to get justice, especially to ensure there's the motto of having a free, fair and transparent elections is actually carried to the last letter. And I think that is what is primarily trying to be done. Election Commission issuing notices, show cause notices is not new. Whenever it finds something very serious, it does give the opportunity to the person who has been accused to give an explanation. And that is what it has been done to the Chief Minister of West Bengal, Ms. Mamata Banerjee. Of course, the earlier aspect you mentioned, the Chief Secretary had responded. The EC said it was not the Chief Secretary, not the government of Bengal, but the Chief Minister herself in a political capacity for having made an announcement. She will have to obviously explain, give an explanation to the Election Commission. And of course, in due process, it will kind of evaluate whether what she did announce constitutes violation of Model Code of Conduct, because it pertains to an announcement which, in the estimation of the Election Commission, could influence the voter. Any SOP, any announcement that has that effect, because even while real governance sense, Election Commission in the run-up to the polls, when the election mode of code of conduct kicks in, the basic criteria is if and when a state government has to take a decision which is very vital for governance, interests of the people, it has to send a note to the Election Commission and seek its clearance. It's not that the governance comes to a standstill. So there are instances when, in cases of emergency, the Election Commission does realize and allow, because it has a whole lot of paraphernalia and assistance.
Indeed.
So I don't think that's there. But election time does have rhetoric, and possibly when people who are electioneering lose, they cross the fine Lakshman Rekha, probably the Election Commission puts up the red flag.
Yes, and has to step in so that it doesn't go or doesn't get out of control.
Absolutely.
Indeed. All right, let's move on now and talk about some rallies that took place in West Bengal. Minister of Road Transport and Highways of India, Nitin Gadkari, addressed a rally in Madhyam Gram constituency, where elections will be held in the fourth phase on the 25th of April. Gadkari said that the centre has decided to step up a new port at Bengal so that the youth can get employment opportunities. He also said that a project to establish waterways in Ganga for better communication has begun. Gadkari attacked the TMC government, accusing it of corruption, claiming that the state has been pushed back.
बंगाल में 3 जगह पर मल्टी मॉडल हब बन रहे हैं, जहां रोड भी होंगे, जहां रेलवे भी होंगी और जहां जलमार्ग भी होगा.
Well, it's time for a short break now, but we'll be back with news from the other poll-bound states on the other side. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
My research sort of speciality is essentially signal processing. For a person who works on this multi-detector sort of strategy, I think having detected in India is fantastic. I'm more excited is to see this kind of a system which we never expected.
Watch Eureka with Dr. Archana Pai, Assistant Professor, IISER Thiruvananthapuram, only on Rajya Sabha TV.
Hemkund Sahib, sacred shrine of the Sikhs, widely acclaimed for being the highest in the world, located in the Himalayas at an altitude of 15,200 feet. The Gurudwara is designed with an image of an upside-down lotus flower.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha Television. Let's get you news from Kerala now. While promising new measures to make its liquor policy foolproof, the ruling United Democratic Front released its manifesto for the upcoming Kerala Assembly elections. The UDF has decided not to issue bar licenses to 3-star and 4-star hotels that secure 5-star status from the central government. The manifesto also ensures homes for everyone in the coming 5 years if the government returns to power. The 63-page document released by Chief Minister Oommen Chandy in the presence of leaders of the front partners, among other things, promises free bicycles to 8th standard girl students and laptops at concessional rates to students in government and aided colleges. It also focuses on the growth of agriculture sector with special emphasis on rubber farmers and promised internet or interest-free loans to farmers, subsidy to organic farming, steps to check price rise on essential commodities, and 3 cent land free for landless people are some other promises of the UDF. Let me go take this to my guest now and find out about, the liquor prohibition and how the government has been talking about, foolproofing the entire liquor policy. It's not just Kerala. We saw that happening with Nitish Kumar in Bihar. We see that happening in Tamil Nadu as well. Politics being played over liquor. I mean, suddenly we've seen liquor take center stage in some of these states.
I think, let's put it this way, prohibition and votes are a heady mix. So that's kind of working right now. You've seen that happen in Bihar. You've seen that now being in Kerala. It's enforced partially.
Yes.
And of course, in Tamil Nadu, the Chief Minister promising that it will kind of bring in a phased manner. So all this are, obviously, we all do realize that alcoholism and alcoholic habits, drinking habits probably are creating a problem and stress on the society. Especially the women folk have to bear the brunt of it in the rural areas more so. Not necessarily in urban areas is free from it, but it is also prevalent in a rural and urban area. But let me remind you, prohibition as a state policy worldwide has not really worked.
Yes.
And that has been the case whether back in 1930s in the United States of America. Closer home, we have two very recent in Haryana in 1996, it was imposed. A government came to power, but in 2 years' time, it had to roll back. 2 or 3 years' time, it had to roll down. Similarly, you had a policy in Andhra Pradesh when the United Andhra was in position. Prohibition kicked in. Chandrababu Naidu government came to power. It could not. It had to go. One, because leakages are happening. And what is an issue which many people have pointed out is the revenue which the state accrues legally is not available. Corrupt officials or corrupt people try to exploit the situation, and the kind of reports that keep coming in off and on about liquor being smuggled from neighboring states where there is no prohibition policy adds to the problem. So as a rule, it has not worked. Gujarat is the only state technically which has had prohibitions since the independence, land of Mahatma, and it has maintained so. But is liquor not available in Gujarat? That's, people keep talking about it. We don't know.
It is available.
So you see, that's what I said. Nagaland, probably some other parts are again dry states where you are not allowed, alcohol is not sold officially, it's not part of the state policy. But I said it is a societal problem, it has to be addressed. But is this the right way of going about it? I'm not sure about it.
Okay.
But then they're getting votes.
Yes, it is a heady mix, like you said. KV Prasad, we'll have to leave to that. Thank you so much for joining us on the program and putting things into perspective for us. Well, meanwhile, Kerala is the leading producer of rubber in the country, with 90% of India's natural rubber coming from this southern belt. But due to the global economic slowdown, the rubber prices have crashed to an all-time low, resulting in small and marginal farmers facing one of the toughest times of their lives. Neelu Vyas brings you this report from the rubber belt of Kottayam.
Therian has been growing rubber in Kottayam for the last 40 years, but never before has he seen a financial crisis like what he has faced since 2013. Once an owner of 30 acres of rubber plantation, now he's left with just 2 acres as he had to sell his plantations due to the global crash in rubber prices.
ലോൺ എടുത്തൊന്നും വീട്ടാൻ പറ്റുന്നില്ല, വീട് പണി നടക്കുന്നില്ല, പിള്ളേരെ കോളേജ് സ്കൂളിലൊക്കെ ആക്കിയതാണ്. അതൊക്കെ മിക്കവാറും ഇനി വിളിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് പോരുക നടക്കുള്ളൂ. മുന്നോട്ട് കൊണ്ടുപോകാൻ നിവൃത്തിയില്ല, പൈസ കിട്ടുന്നില്ല, ഒരു തരത്തിലും ഇത് മുന്നോട്ട് കൊണ്ടുപോകാൻ പറ്റുന്നില്ല.
1 acre of rubber used to fetch around 250 rupees. After the crash, the prices have come down to less than 100 rupees. Like Therian, almost 11 lakh rubber cultivators have either shifted to other crops or have been forced to sell off their land.
जिला एरिया में थोड़ा अच्छा खेती होने से सब खेती में रबर प्लांटेशन कर दिया. अभी खाना का फूड से एकदम कम नहीं मिलता है. ये रबर में पैसा नहीं मिलने से सब लोग गरीब बन जाएगा, जल्दी गरीब बन जाएगा.
വരുത്തപ്പെടുന്നില്ല. പകുതി പിന്നെ ഒരു 75% ടാപ്പിംഗ് ചാർജും മറ്റ് 400 എല്ലാം കൂടെ വരുമ്പോഴത്തേനും 80-90% ചിലവാകും. പിന്നെ 10% കിട്ടുന്നത്. മറ്റേ ന്യായമായിട്ട് ഒത്തൊരു കാര്യങ്ങളെല്ലാം കഴിഞ്ഞ് ഒരു ന്യായമായ പ്രതിഫലം കിട്ടിക്കൊണ്ടിരുന്നത് ഇപ്പോൾ അതില്ല.
Chief Minister Oomen Chandy has lobbied for these rubber farmers extensively, who constitute the core of the voter base of the United Democratic Front, but has received only a half-hearted response.
At present, we are not getting the proper minimum price. Government has to fix the price in consultation with the farmers, because we are really doing it. So after that, I think fix a price and let us get the price.
Every panchayat for the time being has come up with rubber producing societies who are helping the small and marginal farmers with cultivation, tapping of latex and even marketing their produce, but that's not helping them the way it should.
If the government cannot give a subsidy right away, what the government has to do is let the government give a interest-free loan to the farmers. Suppose the government of India is giving an interest-free loan for 10 years. The immature period of rubber is approximately 10 years. Let them give 5 lakh rupees as interest-free loan for 10 years. We will be happy.
Kerala has demanded stringent enforcement to prevent the misuse of the import for export scheme. The state has also suggested establishing proper testing facilities in designated ports to ensure that cheap quality rubber imports do not kill the robust domestic industry.
There should be a balance between import and export. If the balance is not there, the price will again come down. So then for farmers who are to start planting, the planting subsidy we were giving is only 25,000 rupees as on now. This is to be increased. It comes only less than some 5% of the total cost of cultivation.
Today, the Indian rubber industry consists of a turnover of 12,000 crores, where the annual production varies between 6 to 7 lakh tons. Rubber farmers are demanding an increased minimum support price, which has not come to them till date.
Kerala government has given subsidy to the rubber farmers in the form of cash, which is really not enough. The need of the hour is for the centre and the state governments to sit together to find out immediate remedial measures as far as remunerations and interest-free loans to the rubber farmers are concerned. If that is not done soon, days are not far that the rubber farmers would flee from the scene and cultivation will come to a standstill. This is Neelu Vyas reporting from Kottayam for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, let's now bring you the latest from Tamil Nadu. Well, DMDK chief Vijay Kant has launched a scathing attack on DMK President Karunanidhi. Vijay Kant mocked Karunanidhi for aspiring to be the chief minister at the age of 92 for the 6th time. Addressing a rally at Kullithalai, Vijay Kant said that illegal sand mining was rampant in the area. He named an opposition party leader for being behind the mining. He also attacked Jayalalitha, saying while the AIADMK has money power, the DMDK PWF combined had the support of the people with strong hearts. Well, single-phase elections in the 234 assembly seats of Tamil Nadu are scheduled to take place next month. The state's capital, Chennai, with 16 assembly seats, is a crucial area which would play a decisive role in deciding the fate of the two main Dravidian parties in the state, the ruling AIADMK and the opposition DMK. Here's more.
Located on the Coromandel coast of the Bay of Bengal, Chennai is one of the biggest cultural, economic and educational centers in the country. Known as the Detroit of South Asia for its automobile industry, the port city has a population of over 46 lakhs and over 90% of it is literate. But today, we are going to focus on the 16 assembly seats in the city that are going to polls on 16th of May. Of the 16 assembly seats in Chennai, the AIADMK has 11 seats in the present assembly. DMK and DMDK have 2 seats each and 1 seat is occupied by the left. The 3 Lok Sabha seats were won by AIADMK in 2014.
Investments are also not coming. In fact, people are going to other states. Employment. Employment is another serious issue which is affecting us. So these are the serious problems as far as this election is concerned.
Around 36 lakh voters will cast their vote in the upcoming assembly elections. The main election issues in the city remain price rise and corruption. While unemployment and sale of alcohol are also important election issues, the devastating rains in the capital last year could also have a bearing on how the city votes on 16th of May.
During the flooded period, people were very upset on the fundamentals not being met and not being addressed at the specific point in time. People are very much affected in terms of economy. So economical point is concerned, the businesses are very down.
The AIADMK is confident of a comeback on the basis of development in the last 5 years. The opposition, however, begs to differ.
Definitely our numbers will increase without the help of BJP. Probably the Dravidian parties, because definitely it is going to be a hung parliament. Anti-incumbency is there, but DMK has not encashed that anti-incumbency. Third front, if the PMK, DMDK, BJP, Vasan and all the other parties, as we thought, would have combined, definitely it would have been a challenging alliance, but it has not happened. But because of the five-cornered fight, BJP may encash this situation.
The TMC agenda will always be for the prosperity of the poor people, downtrodden, SC, ST and minority. We will always like to see that the lifestyle of these people in the society develops on a higher way.
While the Dravidian parties and the newly formed Third Front Alliance are confident of winning, the traditional anti-incumbency factor cannot be ignored. With new fronts emerging in the state, challenging the dominance of the AIA-DMK and DMK, the election battle is a tough multi-cornered contest. Ravindra Shoran's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, let's now get you the latest from Pondicherry. Well, tourism is the biggest industry in election-bound Puducherry. This time, it has become a big issue with voters who feel the government is not doing enough to promote it. Here's more. Located in the southern part of India on the Coromandel coast of the Bay of Bengal and bound by Tamil Nadu is Puducherry. The history of modern Puducherry dates back to 1673 when Dutch, Portuguese, British and French colonists arrived here. A French colony till 1954, Pondicherry was officially renamed Puducherry in 2006.
We should be having foreign tourists coming in, which we have not focused yet. I think there is a major vacuum which we need to grow in that direction. And the government has to play a very vital role with regard to popularizing our destination in the foreign markets, which I think this place needs that push from the government.
Once a quiet, sleepy town, Puducherry banks on tourism as one of the main sources of income. More than 7 lakh domestic and foreign tourists visit the Union Territory every year. However, the absence of an airport is a huge drawback. Political parties also feel that tourism needs a boost for overall development of the region.
I've been hearing that an airport here in Pondicherry would be helpful because we have to come through Chennai. But I think we're enjoying the facilities that are here.
But more facilities will help more people.
More facilities will help for more tourists, sure.
This is a union territory. We have limited revenue. We don't have much revenue. So this the central government should a lot of funds. That's what I feel. This government revenue is only excess duty on this liquors, which is apart. We get about something like some. But they have to focus most on tourism sector.
ये पूरा बिल्कुल ये सरकार अभी एनआर सरकार फेल है पूरा अब उन्होंने 170 आश्वासन दिया लोगों का ये में एक ही पूरा नहीं किया अभी तक 5 साल हो गया.
During these elections, local residents are renewing their demand for an airport and also a theme park. Demands that could play a major role in deciding the fate of political parties, depending on their stand on these issues. Ravindra Sharon for Rajya Sabha Television, Puducherry. Well, that's it on this edition of Verdict 2016. See you again next time.